Darren, where do you stand on that? Do you think it's about time that we agree on, looking ahead, looking at what the impact is? Again, I'm not sitting here saying, well, I don't like the result. I'm not going to play the same game that Steve Baker played, which is I didn't like those figures, so I'm just going to ignore them. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I didn't like the outcome of the referendum, so I just don't think it should happen. But how are you, as a Brexiteer, going to sell it to me? How are you going to say when every single economic forecast is saying, look, it ain't going to be great? How are you going to sell it to me rather than us actually spending time arguing about which figures are right, which figures are wrong? How are you going to be selling it to me? That's partly my question. And also the other part that I'd like to find out from you is, how do you feel it's going with the Conservatives in charge of Brexit when they can't quite agree on not just the figures, but what kind of Brexit they're going to go and sit opposite Mr. Barnier to negotiate?
Well, I'll take that second point first. I think it's quite depressing, actually, that we have this sense of sort of continual deja vu, where we're having the same arguments over and over again, whether it be on the economic impact, whether it be on whether or not we leave the EU customs union, whether or not the UK looks a bit more like Canada or a bit more like Norway. And I find that incredibly frustrating. And actually, civil servants wouldn't feel the need to do policy on the hoof, which is what seems to be coming from that report last week, if there was leadership from the top. And I feel that we are actually lacking leadership on Brexit, and Theresa May setting out what her vision of Britain after Brexit looks like. And to me, that should be a country which has regulatory autonomy and an independent trade policy, because actually I think the opportunities in that are immense, especially for the poorest in society. Jacob Rees Mogg mentioned it himself. We don't produce bananas, coffee, clothing and footwear, which we can import at a cheaper rate if we're outside of the EU's protectionist bracket and its common external tariff.